everyone, Anita here, and welcome to day 2 of the 2017's Inktober. Goodness, I can't talk. I have a little bit of a sore throat right now, so forgive me if I cough or do any weird noises. It happens, okay? Every single time I have to. Last time when I did the 30-day video thing, I had the same problem. I remember I was also having a sore throat. But anyway, thank you so very much for the amazing response on the first video. I was absolutely stunned when I woke up this morning and I saw all the comments and all the views. It just never happens to me overnight. So thank you so much. And also, I've decided in the end to just include, the outlines and the filling of the backgrounds, because you guys seem to either lean towards the yes, keep it, or just do whatever you want. So I will keep it. If it makes you happy, if it's satisfying, I will keep it. It might happen sometimes I will skip it, but we have 31 videos to make. It's plenty of time to do both. So today I thought I would actually mention, because I don't think I mentioned it yesterday, where the witches came from. When I've decided, to do Inktober, and I was thinking about the theme, I just did the general, Google search for inspiration. And I saw that, there were Inktober prompts from several years. There's always the official Inktober prompt. But I'm not really that much into prompts, I have to say. I was into it a while back when I still didn't have that much inspiration. It's not exactly the word I'm looking for. I just needed that little nudge in my head to just get me going. That's when I started the 52-week challenge, because I had that weekly prompt. But at some point, I just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do without having necessarily do 30 specifically, designed prompts. I wanted to be able to choose my own. And at the same time, while I was seeing those, the official Inktober prompts, there was another one for a Witchtober, just a 31 witches prompt. And at that point, I felt like designing characters a lot, just making different clothes, having fun. And I thought, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to design 31 different witches. And while I do not specifically follow that prompt, I have a name here. It was made by Ochi Brochi, I think. I'm gonna post the name in the description so you can find that person and that prompt if you want to. You just have to Google it. But that was a very good start for me. Just have somewhere to start. So, for example, this witch is one of the prompts on that list. I believe it's a royal witch or a queen witch, something like that. And also the one from yesterday was a garden witch. That was actually the first witch I've designed in my sketchbook when I was preparing for Inktober. And so I will not follow all the prompts. I don't think I actually went through even half of them. But that's pretty much what got me started. That was the first idea. So I remember I had a garden witch, this one, royal or queen. I remember very clearly that I had an urban witch, socialite witch. So there will be more of them appearing through the month. So if you want to give a try to the 31 witches prompt, find it on Google. It's one of the first hits that appears. So that's the story. That's the background story. And here I'm painting that. I think it was a royal. I like the name Royal Witch. So that's what it's going to be. So I really like this little sketch. It's really easy. It's simple. It's a simple sketch because I wanted to concentrate more on the patterns here. So her dress is actually in a pinstripe. And then I wanted to have those feathers, and the bottom that doesn't look like feathers looks more like banana peels to me. But it's just kind of like a fabric, ruffled, fabric. And then I wanted the hat to match with the dress and have those crowns on top. It's just something really fun. And I was bent I was really set on not having a background in this one. And it's a funny story because already at this point I was like, I would really like to have some roses in the background. I think that would fit really nicely. And I was like, no, Anita, you can't have roses in the background. You're just going to have a character. Okay, you do not have to have a background with every single picture. Yeah, spoiler alert, I will have a background with this picture. But for now, I'm just kind of filling in the areas, just to block the colors, get the general mood going. Colors, they are not colors, just the values. I knew that I wanted to kind of reverse my initial idea, because initially I wanted to have those feathers and the bottom to be white and the dress to be dark. But I've decided to reverse that. I thought just, it would be more interesting, especially without a dark background. And so I wanted the feathers, the butt feathers, the bottom and the hair to be black. And so I started with that medium, kind of like I suppose a highlight tone. I usually start like that if I don't want to commit completely to a dark color. When I work with watercolors. So I will start with a bit of a lighter version of whatever color I want there to be and just keep building it up. This way I have a kind of a wiggle room if I want to have some highlights or just a kind of like a gradient. I have that possibility. I wanted... one thing actually that bothers me a little bit about this whole inking thing is that I don't actually shade that much. Ever. My shading is very minimal. I concentrate mostly on the colors and the patterns and the details. Shading, not so much, because if I had to shade every single little detail I paint, it would have, taken me forever. And so I usually concentrate on just the general area. Maybe I will, add a little bit of shading to indicate that there is a roundness to that shape. But mostly I will use the pattern to indicate that there is a shape, or I don't know, I've never done much shading and it kind of bites me now, because when you work with only one color, I just kind of feel that, I could possibly do more dramatic shading, but at the same time, I don't like it. So it's like I'm constantly fighting with myself. So Anita, it would be nice if you've added more contrast here, but I don't want to. I don't know. I assume that once I paint more, I will kind of settle a little bit on what I like, what I don't like, because, once I still treat ink as watercolor right now, and that's probably going to stick. Because, I am a watercolor artist. I work with washes. I have a specific style of painting that I really, really like. And I've always really, in my whole life, I never remember learning an actual medium. I always made sure that the medium worked for me. So I never learned how watercolors were supposed to work or how you're supposed to, quote unquote, work with watercolors. I just made sure that whatever I had in mind, that the watercolors did that. And that's why I have those, I don't leave white spaces. I use a gel pen to add white to my pictures. I don't really like the granulation that much, because I really like flat washes. I just like, that's my way of adding color. And I think that really shows here with ink as well. And it just kind of made me think about it a little bit more, because what I have in mind when I think about Inktober, I have in mind those really dramatic black and white pictures. But what I put on the table is a little bit wishy-washy. But that's because that's how I paint. So I'm really hoping that with time, and I doubt it's actually going to happen during Inktober, just because I have that tight schedule of a video a day, which, is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's, is that even relevant? Oh, never mind. But in what I mean is that, I will practice with ink, but I don't have enough time to actually experiment I don't have time for a mistake. I need to bring that illustration every day. And it's not necessarily bad because I'm enjoying it. I actually enjoyed this piece a lot more than the one from yesterday. I was feeling much more confident in what the ink was bringing to the table. As you can see here now, I'm adding that another layer of almost black ink, almost pure ink. I just dumped some ink from the pot. And that's what I'm picking on the water brush. But of course, the water brush is giving a little bit of water, so... Oh, excuse me. So, it's still not pure black, but it's just enough of a tonal difference from everything else that I'm actually feeling that it has more contrast than than the piece from yesterday, for example. And I was really happy. This thing came exactly how I imagined it to, with the feathers, with the little... I'm not shading here, I'm just drawing in some shapes, and I really like that effect. I have a little bit of a skip here, and I really didn't do anything else but put in the stripes, because I really had to concentrate on putting the stripes with the paintbrush, so that's why there's nothing else that happened. And now I'm adding a little bit more shading to the bottom, to the banana peels. And yeah, it's just taking shape. I like it. I'm really, really happy. And the whole time, just imagine me painting and thinking, Anita, you can't put a background in. There's just no way. You will not put a background. You're going to be satisfied with what you're seeing. There's no need for a background. And yeah, the whole time I was thinking, you don't need a background. So, that aside though, I'm adding basic shading right now just to kind of differentiate the shapes. I really wanted the hat to be light, just the same fabric as the dress. But that also meant I had to find some kind of middle tone between the darkness of the hair and the lightness of the hat, so that, they would still, the inside of the hat would still stand out. That was surprisingly tricky for me, okay? I'm a noob in ink. Also, the hat and the crowns were really hard for me because I didn't know how to approach them. Everything seemed to kind of blend in together, and I ended up really darkening the crowns to make them kind of look like a layered effect. You have the top of the hat is light, crowns dark, the brim of the hat is light, then her hair is dark, the kind of layers, so they stand out a little bit more. Because it seemed to me like the whole hat wasn't shaded the way I wanted it to. That's the only minus I can really feel in this picture. That I feel like I could have spent a little bit more time on and rethought it. It's just too flat. But, all in all, for one thing on this whole piece, it's not bad. I mean, I tend to be very critical of myself. Don't take it the wrong way. It's just my way of analyzing, what I could have done better. There's always room for improvement. It doesn't mean that I'm unhappy with what I made. It's just, for next time, I will know to spend more time on the hat to make it look more three-dimensional. That's one of the problems also, like I say, with shading. I think I could have used those lines, the pattern, a little bit better to make it look more rounded. But I didn't, so, next time. There's always next time. So yeah, here I am putting in the background. I've decided to just, like I've said, I wanted to have roses, but I've decided to have them really minimalistic. I mean, I've used these kind of rose design in a lot of patterns before. I really, really like it. This is so calming and so relaxing to paint. So I thought, this kind of very light, just a shadow of a pattern would really tie everything together. I don't know, I'm used to painting full illustrations. I need to have a background. So this was my compromise, I suppose, for not putting too much detail, because of how faint that that background is. So I'm actually really, really proud of myself because part of me wanted to add a little gate, like stones to the back, you know, because now we have this arch where the flowers are inside. And so I kept thinking, well, you know, it would be nice to have an arch there. But honestly, I think that would be way too much because now we have that really faint background, but the character is the focal point. The character stands out really well. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. Very satisfied. So, yeah. And another thing I've realized, thank you so much for your suggestions about my kind of glasses problem. And yeah, it seems I have a problem with vision right now. Once I realized it, I started noticing more things. For example, one thing that I have recently is awful headaches every single morning after I paint. And I was blaming the lights for it because at some point I started getting headaches and I thought, okay, maybe the lights are too bright. But, you know, I didn't have that problem in the beginning when I just started painting and I was making videos as well. Under the same lights, nothing changed. But now that I've finally realized that perhaps I have a problem with just vision, with, you know, with details, I've realized how much I'm actually squinting to see those details. So, of course, if you're squinting for many hours at a time, you're gonna have a headache afterwards. So I've already decided to go to a professional and we'll see. The magnifying glasses seem like, you know, a good idea. So here I'm adding the last little, you know, gel pen white details. As you can see here, I'm adding a little lace. That lace was supposed to be at the top, but there was not enough contrast for that white to stand out. So I've decided to put it at the bottom. And after that, I actually come in with the black fine liner and add that lace at the top as well, because I just, you know, I needed to have that lace. So surprisingly enough, there wasn't that much need for white details. I've just added a few little pearls, you know, the whites in the eyes and the gems, and that was it. So not much there to be that I had to talk about. There is the lace. But all in all, I'm super satisfied. So here is an extra footage of me trying to rip to take off the tape. I burned myself twice doing that. Yeah, because it's, you know, I'm trying. It's very hard to keep that little piece, that board, to keep it down and try to take off the tape. It's surprisingly tricky. If it was taped to something heavier, then yeah. But this thing, it's a foam board, so it's very, you know, light and bendy and. But yeah, added bonus, and yeah, I destroyed my board. So yeah, that was day 2 of Inktober and some chatting on the side. I hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so very much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!